Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today as we will be walking through what Microsoft Dynamics 365 Sales looks like with some out-of-the-box functionality. If we have not yet had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Jacqueline O'Brien here on the customer success team. And joining me also from the Western Computer team, we have Kayla Rohde, who is one of our senior CRM and D365 consultants. Hey, Kayla, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jackie. Hey, folks. Happy to be here.
Well, the exciting part of today's call is that this is going to be 100% demonstration rather than any PowerPoint slides. So super excited to have Kayla leading us through and just a quick screenshot of the agenda for the demo today. Kayla's going to start with just some system basics, show you some navigation, what it looks like. Then we'll really take you through all of the management. So from lead management over to account and contact management, kind of wrapping up with opportunity management, and then moving over to reporting.
Thank you, Jackie, for the intro. And folks, thank you very much for joining today. So just starting off, for those of you who may be familiar with the Dynamics platform, or if this is new to you, we're going to cover some basics with just navigation in the system. So I'm currently within the Microsoft Sales application for Dynamics CE. You're going to hear me use a ton of different words from CE, sales. CE stands for customer engagement, and that is the umbrella term that Microsoft uses for its sales, service, field service applications. So you'll hear me use that terminology. We're within the Sales Hub right now, and a couple things with navigation. So in the top corner here, we'll always have access to our other Microsoft applications. Obviously, your teams may be using Outlook, you may be using Word, we may be using SharePoint, etc. So I always have quick access to get into those applications as needed from within my app itself. Across the top here with my application, I've got a few different icons that I can click into. This guy right here is going to be our global search functionality. And when you think about this, this really is like Google search. So let me look for a datum here. Essentially what this is doing is it's going to search my entire database, and I don't have a datum in my database. So let me find that for you again. And I'll use an asterisk this time as a wildcard search. But what we're able to do is essentially tell the system, hey, when I type in a specific word, I want you to look for this on these different tables. So right now we're pulling back anywhere on our accounts, our contacts, and our lead tables, anywhere we have the word datum. A datum is one of our companies that we have in the system. So this search functionality is pretty broad, pretty expansive, and we do have some configuration control over that. So I do like to highlight that right away. In addition to having some global search capability, there's a couple other things up here in the top menu that we won't jump into right now, but you do have some options to set some personal settings. There's also capabilities to go into the back end for additional administrative settings also. In terms of just sticking with the navigation, off to the side here, this is our sitemap. I can collapse and expand this if I want to give myself some more screen real estate. And then our sitemap here, I've got different kind of options for things I can select. So you'll notice if I want to look at recent records, I can certainly do that. If I'm using one of these recent records pretty frequently and I want to pin that, I can go ahead and I can pin that, and then that'll display here, kind of like a bookmark in a website. The rest of these items, I'm going to let this land on my sales accelerator here. The rest of these items are out of the box, how Microsoft gives us the application. So we can go through and we have kind of our my work organization, which is going to be my working list, my activities list, and then dashboards that I have access to. We then have accounts and contacts, some sales tables with leads, opportunities, and competitors, and then additional sales collateral, right? So we think about things like quotes, orders, invoices, actually setting up a product catalog, And then things like sales literature, which would be, if I have pamphlets that my sales team uses and we want to kind of keep that information within the system, we can house that detail here as well. Some things that we're not going to jump into include the marketing components of this. We're going to keep this strictly on the kind of lead and opportunity management, but there is some light marketing functionality that's available in the system. And then performance. We'll talk about forecast here. Goals is going to be something that you can use kind of in tangent with your forecast to help your team track their progress against quotas or any other types of goals you might want to set within the system. And then service, right? Out of the box with sales, we do have the ability to do some level of case creation. And this often ties into a broader platform where we might have our sales and our customer service teams working within the Dynamics platform. This is a way for your sales team to kind of connect cases over to the customer service team. Navigationally, I'm going to click on this guy down here, and this is going to be our area selector. Key thing to note here, app settings. This is going to be where if you are more of a sales admin person, you're going to come in here and you can make changes to how the system is set up to some degree. So if you want to turn on Teams chat, that's going to be done within here. There's some lead and opportunity and productivity setup that can be done here. Additionally, as you'll see on the side here, right, there's duplicate detection rules that we can set up on leads and accounts and contacts or other records in the system. The playbook functionality, this ties into a feature called sequences that I will speak to here. It's kind of a precursor to that. And then some other just kind of setup capabilities, right? So when we think about wanting to have sales territories, for example, if I want to split my team up by a regional division, maybe I have a Northeast team, a Northwest team, and then I have a Southeast and a Southwest team. You can put those sales territories into the system. And then we talked about we can do product catalog setup here kind of as a foundational piece. We won't dive into that today just because we're here to really show off kind of how the system functions for a salesperson. We can follow up here later on with another webinar down the road, though, to dive into those admin functionality. So with that, a couple other things that I want to say, and then I'm going to dive back into just the sales experience. You're going to hear me say things like the system's configurable, we can extend the system. And that's kind of that's the gold with Microsoft Customer Engagement Platform. We do have the ability to extend the system. When I say extend, I mean we can add custom fields, we can create custom tables. We can also create things like business rules. So if I want to show or hide a field on a form based on the value of another field, we can set that up in the system. We also have the ability to set up workflows using the system workflow engine or using Power Automate, which is a little bit more robust than the out-of-box workflow system. So those are all things that you'll hear me say we can configure the system. And configure is different than customize in the world of CE. So when I say configure, that means that a consultant who doesn't have coding skills can do that. When I say customize, that is something that would be custom coding and you would want somebody with a developer skill set. So the configurations of adding tables, adding form changes, business rules, or those workflows or those Power Automates, those are all configurations. Those are things that you can do without somebody who knows code. So without further ado, I want to talk to you all about lead management. Right now, when I first come into the application, I've set up this Sales Accelerator piece, and this is something that comes out of the box with Microsoft. So Sales Accelerator is really a collection of tools that Microsoft provides to help your salesperson think smarter or work a little bit easier with data-driven information from the system. So Sales Accelerator combines a few things. Number one, you're going to notice this giant lead scoring thing, and this is going to be visible both on my lead and my opportunity forms. Lead scoring is part of Sales Accelerator, and what this does is it uses system-generated information, so it's going to look at your past leads that you've won and you've lost, and it's going to start generating scores based on all of the data elements you have within that record. So this helps me as a salesperson understand, this looks like it's trending upward based on previous records that we've closed in the system. Or if it's something with a lower health score of, say, 65, I can come in here and take a quick peek and say, all right, well, this is 65. what are the factors that are making this probably a lower score than my Gabriella lead? So lead and opportunity scoring are something that's included as part of Sales Accelerator. In addition to that, there's a component known as sequencing, which that is this piece right here, this up next. So with sequencing, I'm able to actually do sequencing with both leads and opportunities, and potentially other records in the system if you have maybe custom tables that you're looking at. But sequencing allows me to set up a series of steps that my salesperson can follow. And we can make those dynamic steps, right? So right now, my first step in my sequence is to do a follow-up call with Lavana because she's come in as a lead. I can mark this complete. I can cancel this, or if I'm not actually going to take this and maybe I'm working with another internal salesperson, maybe I can assign that off to them to take care of. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit mark complete on this. As I mark that complete, what that's going to do is it's going to load up the next step in my sequence, if there are any, for me to follow up on. Sequences are great because you can do a few things, right? I can indicate that I need to have a follow-up phone call. I can indicate that there should be a specific email with a template that goes out. I can make this dynamic. So if I do step 1 and I get a response from the customer, I might have a step 2A. Versus if I do step 1 and I don't get a response, I might have a step 2B. So sequencing can be dynamic, which is also a really great tool if you guys have kind of, complex sales processes at all. In addition to sequences and lead scoring, a couple of things you're going to see that are Sales Accelerator specific is this working list, right? So off to the side here, it's probably the first thing you notice. This is going to show me my follow-up steps on all of my leads. And it's going to give me some indicators such as the score, what's my next task, this is a follow-up phone call. You can see I'm Ruben, I need to send an introduction email. What this allows me to do as a salesperson is use kind of a system-generated focus list to get through all of my action items that I need to accomplish for the day. So that's kind of Sales Accelerator. It's pretty broad, pretty holistic. One other piece that ties into this that I think is really going to be helpful for folks is record distribution. So we think about leads coming into the system. Where do they come from? How do they get in here? Multiple ways that leads can come out of the system. We can manually add them with our quick create button over here, and we can create a lead record. In addition to that, if I have an email in Outlook that I got a new email that's requesting a quote from a customer, I can also go directly from Outlook and I can create a lead here as well with our Outlook tie-in. So I'll show you what that looks like here. Within my email itself, I've got my Dynamics 365 add-in. And then what I'm able to do is I can tell the system to just track the email if I just want the email record in the system for visibility. Or if I want to actually associate this with a lead or create a new lead, I can do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to use the set regarding, which is where I would associate this to a lead. And I can find existing lead records if I know who this person is and I'm already working with them. Or I can create new. So I'm going to go take a quick look at my leads and associate this with a lead record. And I'm going to put this on Gabriella because she's the top of my lead list here. So what this does is kind of twofold. Any conversation thread I have now out of Outlook with this particular customer is going to track to the lead that I just associated this with. In addition to that, when I go back into my Outlook, and I'm actually going to show you from here. If I want to view this particular contact record in Dynamics 365, I can open that back up from Outlook. And you see me using Outlook from the web. This does work just the same on Outlook from your desktop application as well. So pretty cool feature. You can kind of do things in CE while you're in Outlook and then get into CE as quickly as possible from Outlook. So now you'll see, this is going to take me to the contact record for Kayla here, but you'll see that email tracked to Kayla's timeline. In addition to that, we'll go back to the Gabrielle's lead in a moment here and we'll show you that record on her timeline as well. So this is that email that we were just viewing in Outlook. I'm going to pop back over to my leads here with Gabriella. And we'll let that load up because this is the lead that I tracked that record to. So now I'm going to be able to see this on Gabriella's timeline. There we go. So leads can come in the system multiple ways. Once they get into the system, right, now we have to figure out how do we get them to the right person. So everything's coming to me right now because I'm the only active user. However, Microsoft has this cool tool that allows you to create logic to route leads to different folks. So if you have maybe territories set up and you want all of your leads that are in the Northeast region of the US to go to a specific team or a specific team member, you can set up logic to automatically route those leads as they come in. If you have a process where you have a sales manager who reviews and then distributes, you can have all of those leads come into the sales manager, and then they can assign them out to whomever that needs to go to, just with the assign functionality here in our lead record. So in addition to kind of everything we've already talked about on leads, right? We've got the lead scoring, we've got our sequencing, we've showed a little bit of the timeline. A couple things we didn't touch on, right? This business process flow across the top. This is going to carry over from your lead into your opportunity when I qualify to this lead. But what this does, if I click on that, this shows me a series of steps that that you can define as a business to say, hey, in the qualify stage, here's the top things that you need to make sure you have before we actually hit the qualify button. So for out of box, this is pure out of box. Out of box, we're looking at, is there an existing account or contact associated? Is there a budget? Maybe there's a $5,000 budget here. Do we know what the purchase process is? Is this individual, committee, unknown? And then is there a quick lead summary that I want to put in here? So as I go through this as a salesperson, you'll notice that I get check marks next to each of these. And when I'm ready to go into the next stage, I'll show you that qualify and disqualify in just a moment. As I'm ready to go into the next stage, the details that I save here will be visible as I progress through these stages. I can bounce back and forth between the stages to view that information. In addition to that, these are all just fields that currently live on the lead table itself. So I can put those onto the form if I want to put those in the details sections perhaps, or anywhere else in the form. I can put those field data anywhere that I need to. So with that, as we progress through the lead, right, this is the opportunity for your salesperson to say, hey, this is probably going to turn into a sale, or, it's not going to turn into a sale. So we can do qualify or disqualify. I'll show you guys the disqualify here. If I do disqualify, I am going to get prompted to select what's the disqualification reason. A lot of times we get companies asking, can we change these? These aren't specific to our business. The answer is yes. We can configure that and give you guys whatever kind of disqualification reasons are meaningful to your business. For this lead though, I'm not going to disqualify Gabriella. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to qualify her. And what's going to happen when I do lead qualification is a few different things. Number one, the system's going to look for an existing contact for Gabriella. If that exists, it's going to ask me, hey, do you actually need this Gabriella in the system, or do you want me to create a new contact? Additionally, we already saw that there's an existing account on here, but if this is a new account, the system's going to go ahead and see the same thing. Is there an existing account, or do we want to create a new account? And then finally, this processing, we're taking all of the data in the lead form now, and we are creating an opportunity record. So conceptually, going in from your lead to your opportunity is, this is your indication that we think this is going to be a sale. So our opportunity means we're going to start building out some quotes, getting a quote in front of a customer. We're going to track into the develop stage of our pipeline. I am going to take a detour before I dive into this opportunity, and we're going to go ahead, we're going to take a look at our account records, and then our contact records, because this is kind of the point where we maybe created a datum or a datum already existed. So I'm going to jump into our a datum record here, and I'm going to make this, I'm going to shrink that up here. If I want to get rid of this my working list, which I kind of do, I'm actually going to come into my account list here, and then that's going to give me my list view of all of my account records, and then I'll navigate into a datum from here. So as I'm on my account records, you see I'm seeing all of my active accounts. I can certainly change this to look at all accounts, or if I want to create a custom filter, I can do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to jump into my account field here, and we'll take a quick peek at a datum's account record. So if you're already using Dynamics, or maybe if you are new to Dynamics, the concept behind this is my customer 360. This is where I'm going to be housing all of the information about my account. So everything a datum, this should surface here. If we do have integrations with an ERP system, maybe we're working with Business Central or F&O, this is going to be a place where we can surface data from those systems on this record to give your salesperson, the 360-degree view that they're looking for. A few things that I want to highlight on here. Basic account information off to the left here. And again, this is all out of the box, so we can change this form to whatever layout really suits your needs. But this timeline piece, you'll see that email we tracked on that lead, that's also on my account timeline. Your account timeline is going to have a roll-up of all of the activities on any child leads or opportunity records in the system. So that way, again, kind of speaking to that customer 360-degree view, I see what's going on here when I take a quick peek here. When I'm looking at my timeline, maybe I just want to look at all of the emails that have been sent to this customer. I do have some filter capability on the timeline. So if I want to look at a specific activity type, maybe just check out the emails, or I want to look at all the phone calls, I can also filter this by activity type. And then if there's a specific status, maybe I want to look at all of my closed or all of my overdue activities, I can also do those filters as well. So timeline is going to be a really powerful piece. You'll see this carry over on pretty much all of the tables in the system. And then off to the right here, right? This little assistant guy. This is another piece that comes with Microsoft Sales out of the box. There are some, I'm going to say, kind of canned cards that the assistant will look at. So this is going to give me reminders of I've got opportunities closing soon, or I have tasks that maybe are supposed to be closing soon or that are past due. Notifications will pop up here. And there is some level of admin control that an admin can configure what kind of cards are going to be shown here. In addition to that, as I go through on my details tab, right, I can collect information about my company profile, description, any contact preferences that we may want to adhere to. And then the billing piece, right? Most of the time when we're talking about a sales system that's integrated with an ERP system, the billing fields will actually be integrated from our ERP system, right? So our ERP is telling us what's the currency, what's the credit limit. But we can still view that information. If we're not integrated, then we can still populate that information here and use it as we need within our system. Last little piece here, this related tab. This is going to show me all of the related records I have access to for this account. I'm going to go down to sales because that's what we're looking at specifically today. But if I want to look at leads that are associated with a datum, when I click on this, it opens up kind of a new tab here and gives me a view of all of the leads that are currently associated with a datum. In addition to that, if I want to look at maybe all of the opportunities here, let's see if there's any opportunities for a datum. That'll load up again as kind of the next tab and surface here. So that is account management. When we think about account management, we're really able to see everything that's going on in the system for the company. Go back on our summary tab here. We're going to go into contacts next. So our contact, right, we always have a primary contact that we can set for our account. So Kevin's always going to be the primary person that I work at with a datum. This is going to be what's known as a lookup field. And what that does is it just links this Kevin record directly here. So if I'm going to hold my control key on my keyboard and I can open that up, or I can hover to see more details. So I can click in here and I can send an email, or if I've got phone hooked up, I can send a phone call. If I'm on my mobile device, that'll trigger, I can start a phone call from my mobile. Now, Kevin's got a couple pieces of information I can also see just on the form itself. And even though Kevin's the primary contact, I still have additional contacts associated with a datum. So I've got Gabriella, I still got Kevin. If I want to add a new contact here, I can click this little 3-dot triple ellipses, hit new contact, and then I can enter in a new contact quickly into this account. So we're going to go with Jane Smith. I like to be generic. Jane Smith is lead purchaser. So I can input information, and you'll see that some information about the account, such as the account name, are already populated for me because I'm creating this contact record from the account. The business phone and the address also came off of the account. I can override those manually if I know that Jane's got a different phone number. Maybe her phone number ends in 9 instead of 8. And if I know Jane's mobile, I can add that in as well. So I'll go ahead and I'll save and close that. And that's just going to add Jane as a contact in the system against a Datum Corporation. Now, jumping into our contact record, we'll take a quick peek at Kevin here. When I open up my contact record, you'll notice that the layout is very similar to the account record, with kind of our basic information on the left and navigating through the timeline. We've also got this who knows whom piece, which you might have noticed on a couple of our other forms. So our contact, we're really able to collect whatever information we want. If the out-of-box fields don't suit your needs and you need more data, again, we can always add additional fields. In addition to that, details about our contacts that ship out of the box. We can capture some personal information. We can take some notes. If we have contact preferences, or if we've got any billing details specific to just this contact, we can go ahead and capture those here as well. Back on this summary tab, I'm going to just pop over the who knows whom. So this is kind of a cool feature that comes with the sales application. And what this shows me is Alan Steiner is somebody who's connected with Kevin, and his relationship with Kevin is green. So the system using some AI that's saying, it looks like Alan and Kevin have a pretty close contact. If you want to use Alan as a reference to get connected with Kevin, we go ahead and click Get Introduced. This is very similar if anybody's worked with LinkedIn Navigator and kind of that who knows who, like getting introduced, very similar to that kind of functionality. So that's a contact. I'm going to jump into our opportunity management now and show you all what that looks like from a salesperson's perspective. So when I open on my sitemap, I can come down to my opportunities list view here. And what this is going to do, a few different ways that I can view my information. I can have this set so it gives me a visual when I'm looking at my opportunities. And this visual is going to be my deal tracker, right? So I can see everything in the past and kind of the grade that it is. Again, that opportunity scoring is my grade. And when I hover over a particular deal, I can get some contextual data about what's the score, what's my estimated close date. I can also look in the future. You know, I've got a grade C that's way out here in the future. So maybe that indicates to me that I need to spend a little more time with this Alpine ski house deal to get that closed. There's also a sales funnel view here. So if you're more familiar with sales funnel and that works a little bit better for you, you can toggle over to this view. And this is just going to show you as your deals, your opportunities progress through the qualify to develop to propose and close stages. We can view those here. And again, if I kind of hover over this, it's going to give me contextual detail about the stage that my opportunities are in. So I currently have approximately $130,000 in estimated revenue in my develop stage. There's a total of 4 deals that are making that up. And that's a roughly 33% of all of the opportunities that are currently in my name. So again, good contextual details for me as a salesperson if I want to come look at things. Now, again, as a salesperson, I like to be able to make quick updates to things. So maybe I want to update my estimated revenue on a deal relatively quickly. When I click on this, you're going to notice this pop out over here. So I can still keep the context of my list, still keep the context of my sales funnel visual, and I can make updates to my opportunity. So you'll notice that I've got access on the side here to all of my opportunity fields. So maybe I want to change my estimated revenue on this to $25,000. And I want to update this because I do know that this is going to have a territory. I don't have a territory, so we're not going to update a territory. But I can add some contextual data here, and I can save any changes that I make. In addition to this, if I just want to put down a quick note, maybe about what the last thing I worked on with this particular opportunity is, this is going to surface my opportunity timeline where I can come in here and I can type in a note. And what's nice about notes is this is going to give you a date timestamp as well as give you an opportunity to put in any text detail you want. You can also put attachments on here. So if they sent a picture of something that you need to reference, you can attach that to your timeline for easy access. And then I can go ahead and I can save that note onto my timeline here. Now, as I'm going through and maybe I'm just making some quick updates to my opportunities, I might stick with this side view. Otherwise, I might actually open up the entire side view here into my full opportunity because I need to do more work on here. So you'll see now I have a lot more data elements visible to me, and I can put in some more information about this deal as I continue to work forward with it. We kind of talked about the timeline. We've seen the assistant before. A couple things we didn't see, right? Our stakeholders and our sales team. So our stakeholders we're always going to default to have a stakeholder of the contact that's on our opportunity that came over from our lead. If there's other folks that are maybe involved with the deal from our customer side, we can add additional stakeholders. Maybe we want to add Kevin to this, and then we also want to add Jane. So we add Jane here, and then we'll go ahead and we'll add Kevin as well. So now I can track from A-Datum's perspective. These are all the folks who are kind of decision makers on this deal. And then down below here, the sales team. If you kind of do any level of working with multiple people when you're trying to close a deal, right? Maybe you have somebody who does the actual estimate, but your salesperson is the liaison between the customer and your company. So we can indicate other additional sales team members. So I'm going to actually use, I think, Jerry on this one. Let's see if I can find Jerry in the system. I might not have Jeremy. And that's okay. I know I'm going to have I'm going to pretend that this is Jeremy because I do have some dummy data in the system for the demo. So we'll pretend this is a team member here that we want to add. And what this is nice is you can use this for reporting downstream. Ooh, all right, we don't have that user set up. So we're going to click out of there. You can add basically as many users from your system as you need to indicate who's on that sales team. Now, as we go through our opportunity, I am going to update my estimated close date here because I don't see that populated. So I'm going to put that information in. I'm also going to come over to my product line items because I want to start building out what I think is actually going to need to be quoted to the customer. So first thing I need to do is I want to put a price list in here. We can definitely have a default price list that auto-populates all the time. Alternatively, if I don't have a default price list and maybe I want to put in a custom price list, we can use custom price lists as well. So you can have a different price list for every opportunity. Down below here in this revenue piece, I can do user provided or system calculated. So when I'm in user provided, whatever products I add here will not change my estimated revenue field. When I click this to system calculated, now my system is going to base my estimated revenue off of the products that I add into this grid. So we'll go ahead, we'll add a couple products here. And Microsoft has added kind of a newer experience for adding products that's a little bit more, I'm going to say, user-friendly, a little bit more streamlined for your sales folks to use. So you'll notice that I can do all products. I can look at my recently used products. I can also write in if there's a custom product that maybe we don't have and I just want to put in a write-in line item. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add advanced cleaning. And then I want to add 4 regular cleaning kits. And let's add in this coffee machine. We want 2 of those for this location. This is a really cheap coffee machine. So now I'm going to save that to the opportunity, and you'll notice that I was able to quickly indicate that these were added. I'm able to put in multiple quantity, and then those are going to populate onto my opportunity here. Now you'll start seeing that my opportunity estimated revenue, that's going to update. If I want to do any type of discounting, I certainly can do discounting at both the line level and at the opportunity level. So if I want to do it at the line level, I can just open up my opportunity products here, and then it'll open up that form, giving me the ability to put in a manual discount or a percentage discount. So maybe I want to discount this just 50 cents. We got to let the system save. I click faster than the system sometimes. So we'll put in a discount of 50 cents, and you can see that normally we're looking at $19.90, but now we're looking at $19.40. Go ahead and close that out. Additionally, if I want to do any type of percentage discount, maybe off the whole deal, maybe we're going to give them a 5% discount. I can add that discount to the form, and that'll go show me kind of my detail amount, if I have a pre-freight amount, if there is freight, and then my total amount. You'll notice that there is the ability to include tax in the system. We're not going to set that up today. A lot of times when we're just doing lead and opportunity management, we're not doing tax, but we do have capability to indicate that in the system if needed. So as I start building this out, now I need to get kind of a quote document put out in front of my customer. So we'll go ahead, we'll show that, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the additional tools we can use. So I don't have a quote record generated, but I've added those product lines. I want to go ahead and just create that quote. When I click create quote, what that's going to do is it's going to pull those opportunity products onto my quote record. It's also going to take details about my opportunity, such as my customer, what's the name, and populate those onto my quote. So all of this information is automatically populated for me. I don't have to manually put this in, but I can certainly make changes if I need to. And then what I'm able to do from here, this is kind of a cool feature. I can go ahead and I can activate this quote. Activate, what that means is it's just going to lock the quote down, and this is what we're sending to the customer to give us an indication of, hey, this is like the final quote we're putting in front of them. Let's say I activate that and we get this sent out to the customer. We'll go ahead, we'll export this to PDF so we can get this sent to the customer. This export to PDF functionality, also another cool thing. This is based off of Word templates that a system admin can configure. You can have multiple Word templates, and this particular one is only on the this one is on the quote, but you can create custom Word templates for any table in the system. So if you want to do that on a quote or an account or an opportunity, we can put that together. And what these templates do is we can map fields from the table, right? So we map the quote ID to this record. We map the discount, all of our financial fields, and then we mapped our products as well. So we can pull details from our system record into a customer-facing PDF. If we don't want it to be PDF and I want it to go into Word first so I can add anything in that I want to, we can also support that. So a lot of flexibility there and just kind of getting a customer-facing document that you derive from your system-based information. So this is what that PDF looks like. And again, this is the out-of-box version. Things like logos, custom font coloring, custom fonts. Really, the sky's the limit there. We can do a lot of great things with that. If I do want to just email this, right? You saw that I downloaded that. I can also email this. And what that's going to do is that'll open up an email that's based out of CE. I can add in any context if I want to the body of the email, and then I can send it from here. What's going to happen if I send that email is it will surface both on my quote timeline, because that's the record I'm on, as well as on my account timeline for ADATA. So we'll see this guy right here, that attachment with my quote. And I want to drag and drop this up, but I'm not going to. My mouse is not working the way I want. So we'll do this, add a little detail, and then we'll send that off. And I don't actually have email configured in the system, so that won't actually send, but kind of get the gist there. In the event that we send this off, the customer wants to, revise this, maybe we need to add more products, we can use the revise out-of-box option here. And this is going to essentially reopen the record, but it's also going to keep a revision count. So we can keep track of how many times we're actually quoting for this particular customer with this particular order. So you'll see that increase from 0 to 1. Last cool piece before we kind of jump into some reporting capabilities in the system. As I think about, I want to start working on these deals, I'm going to jump back into my opportunity here. Collaboration in the system is a really big deal. So again, we mentioned I might have additional sales team members that I'm working with on this. There is native ability now to embed Teams into Dynamics CE, so I can open up Teams chat and I can look at all of my existing chats if I have any going. So I have one that's already going with Alpine Ski House, or if I want to connect to chat with a specific team member, maybe I want to talk to my sales manager about how to move this forward. I need some help in just kind of getting this deal closed, or maybe I need to pull in an estimator and ask for some help with complex estimation. Whatever that is, I can start a new chat, and we're going to see if I have anybody available. We'll get chatting with Jeff. What's going to happen is the chat's going to get a name. We can kind of configure to a certain degree what that name becomes, and then we can include a note on here that just has some information about the opportunity that's pulling from it. So if I need help on this, I can send this message to Jeff, and then that's going to pull up in Jeff's team. He'll get a notification. Hey, you'll see my message. I'll go ahead and let this chat open up within here. You'll see this. So this is what the chat looks like for me. If I had Teams open, I would see this chat within Teams as well. But from Jeff's perspective, he's going to get this message, and this is going to be the hyperlink to this record. So as long as Jeff has license access to the system, he can click that and navigate to this opportunity. And now he might be in his home office and I'm in my home office, and we can start chatting back and forth while we're looking at the same opportunity. Really cool functionality. And when I close that out, I can open that back up at any point in time. If I navigate away from this record, what that's going to do, I'm still going to have access to all of my chats, and I can go back to those at any point in time. It's just not going to be, I'm not going to be on that particular record. So I can still see every chat that I've started. All right. So opportunity management, we went through a lot, right? We looked at what the opportunity view looks like for a salesperson. We looked at adding some products and how we can do some pricing on our opportunity. And then we even created a quote and looked at quote revision. So from here, what I want to do is I want to look at some of the reporting capabilities that we have in the system. The first place I'm going to go is to forecast. So we have the ability to set up forecasts in a few different ways. You can set this up individually. So just as a team member, me as system admin, I might have my own forecast. I can set this up to show team members. And apologies, because of the demo environment data, system admin, that's me. I'm the only one who has any actual data. The rest of these guys aren't pulling their weight. But to illustrate the purposes of if I want to do a hierarchical view, right now, David, Jeremy, and Alan are all team members that are under system admin as a team. So I can view how the team is doing based on sales manager. I can also set this up to look at it based on products or based on like sales territories. So a few different ways that we can set that up. And this is something that, again, a system admin or even a pretty tech-savvy sales manager could set up on their own. You'll see I've got this kind of drill down by account feature turned on. So when I click this for my system admin, what this is going to do is it's just going to show me, here's all of the accounts that are rolling into my forecast. And so right now I'm forecasted at 178,000 with Alpine Ski House, but with Trey Research, I'm at 244. And then within each of my pipeline areas, right, I'm able to see what I've got won, what's committed, best case, pipeline. And then if I do have a quota input in the system, I can see my gap to quota. So a couple things to note and a couple questions that we frequently get, are these pipeline forecasts tied to that pipeline visual and those business process flow stages that we saw in the opportunity? The answer is not out of the box, but we can do a configuration so that way when you move from the develop stage into the propose stage, maybe we move that from best practice into committed. So that's something we can do with a workflow and pretty quick to set up. In addition to that, right, as I start clicking through and I want to look at what I've got going on with ADatum, when I click on that record, this is going to show me all of my opportunities that I have with ADatum. So very similar to that first view that I saw. But if you think about using this forecast almost as like a team tool, right, and we're looking at not just system admin, but David and Alan, we can start going through and, hey, are you sure this is still pipeline? Can we update that? Yeah, let's go ahead and put that in best case. And I have an update on the estimated revenue. Let's change that to 40,000. And let's also update this estimated close date because that's going to be moved out because we didn't close it in May. So we'll update that and we'll close that maybe at the end of June. So kind of a nice way to get some regular forecast hygiene with your team as well.
A view is nothing more than a list of records for a table that is displayed with a set of columns and a specific filter. Now, out-of-the-box Dynamics ships with several views that come with, curated kind of filters and whatnot. But from a implementation standpoint, you can create custom system views, and end users can create their own custom views. So a custom system view would be an example of you have a view of opportunities that you want the entire team to see and maybe put in specific columns. So that would be something that you would build on the back end. As an end user, I have the ability to come into any existing view that I have access to. So for example, all opportunities, and I can come to the edit filters option and I can go ahead and filter this view based on any field that is available on the opportunity or related records. So let's say that I want to look at everything that has a due date, estimated due date. Estimated close date is on or after, we'll say July 7th. So when I go ahead and I apply that, that's going to filter my list down to just 5 opportunities where before it was several more. If this is a view that I want to consistently work with as an end user and I want to come back to, I can go ahead and open up my view selector and I can save that as a new view. So now every time that I want to come look at this, July onward, Every time I want to come back and look at this view, it'll be available to me. Views are one way that we can get data in a kind of a reporting format. Another component in the system that we can use to help with reporting and to help visualize the reporting is going to be the ability to look at system charts. Now, within Dynamics, you can do different types of charts. So we do have bar charts, there's going to be line charts, and there's going to be pie charts. Really, whatever kind of chart you're looking for, we can do just about anything in here. What this is going to allow me to do, though, this chart is currently surfacing. We set those filters up for the chart using a view, and then we pair a view and a chart together. So this is going to be showing me charts that are based off of the data in this list. If I change this data, let's say that I go to just my open opportunities, you're going to see the chart over here change at the same time. Say I was just looking at my chart and I wasn't actually looking at this view. Maybe we're working in a dashboard. When I'm looking at a chart, I can also drill through if I left click, what I can do is I can look at any field on the opportunity. So maybe I want to drill into Alpine Ski House and I want to look at this based on, we'll look at budget. So then I can go ahead and I can look at the Alpine Ski House deal based on budget. Now, that's not the best example of a drill in, but I can continue to drill down into that record as needed. If I want to come back to my main chart, I hit this little home piece, and then that brings me back to my top customer layout. So we have views and we have charts. Similar with views, how you can create views as an end user and share those with other users. You can also create your own charts. Otherwise, you can systemically create additional charts on the back end with the implementation. From here, though, let's take a quick look at how these two things come together. So I can look at one table and the charts associated with that one table. Now my dashboard is going to allow me to bring together things like views from separate tables, charts from separate tables. So right off the bat, we're going to notice that I'm looking at my open opportunities and my open leads. This is going to be my sales pipeline. So I'm looking at, I've got about $25,000 in my qualify stage. Again, if I left click on this, I can drill down and I can look at these open opportunities, and maybe I want to look at everything that's in a qualify stage by the account. And we'll go ahead and we'll just do a bar graph there. So it looks like I've only got Coho Winery as an account in that stage, but that's another example of how I can drill in and view more information. Likewise, let's say that I want to go ahead and make this visual a little bit bigger because the chart's too small. I can click to expand this on the screen. I can do drill in. If I want to, I can also go look at the records that are forming this particular chart. So what that's going to do is it's going to pop open that same view that we've seen previously on the opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and get back into my dashboard here, though. The other piece that I want to point out on our dashboard is this little assistant piece. Now, this is something that Microsoft gives you access to out of the box when you've got sales, kind of just small little reminders that are going to show you, hey, you've got an opportunity closing soon, or you've got a task closing soon. So this is another really great way to use some AI-driven reminders for your dashboard, because this is where you're going to be living out a day in and day out. Now, last thing I want to point out, right, there are several different dashboards. So perhaps I am always working out of my sales dashboard, but I work out of my sales performance dashboard once in a while. I can go ahead and I can change this to my default view. So I can always, when my application opens up, I can land on my sales dashboard view. Similarly, if I want to go ahead and I want to create my own dashboard, I can also create my own dashboard here. And then just like with the charts and views that I create, if I want to share that out with other folks, I can also do that. So that's a little bit about reporting within the system. Beyond what we can do in Dynamics 365, Microsoft is starting to introduce some very nicely curated out-of-box sales reports and out-of-box, basically kind of Power BI visuals for different tables in the system. So what that means is some of the reports that come with the application out of the box, they're a little bit more robust and look a little more Power BI-like than what we would see with an out-of-box dashboard. In addition to that, Microsoft is doing kind of a tie-in with Power BI where you can visualize records, and Power BI and AI kind of put together some visuals based on the view that you're looking at. If those don't suit your needs, right, and you need something more specific, say you want to look at account data, opportunity data, and sales order data all in one go, that's where we'd introduce potentially a custom Power BI report. And when we do Power BI reports, we can have those viewed separately, outside of the Dynamics 365 application, or you can create a dashboard and embed those reports in a dashboard very similar to the one that we're looking at here.
So that is the gist of everything that I have framed up in terms of kind of walking through lead and account management, opportunity management, and some reporting functionality. There's a lot more that can go into this system, but I feel like we've covered, the key areas, right? We've got tie-in with the Microsoft stack, so I can track things in Outlook. From a SharePoint perspective, I can use SharePoint as the backend to keep all of my attachments that I might store against a record. I'm able to do kind of view management, create custom charts. Sky's kind of the limit here.